to know them. It's not, as cliche as it's not judging a book by its cover. You've got to read what's inside.
And do you think you could win?
Yeah, together.
Do you still remember Jonathan Antoine, the shy boy with long hair falling across his face, who stunned the world with a truly extraordinary voice? Behind that breathtaking moment that left millions in awe was a heartbreaking story that remained hidden from public view. Before the stage lights ever shone on him, he had already found himself standing on the edge, believing there was only one way to escape.
My head here would say to you, Jonathan, dump her.
Then, at the height of his rise to fame, a ruthless proposal forced him to make an agonizing choice between a promising career and his loyalty to the person who had always stood beside him. What truly pushed this gifted singer into the darkness? Let's find out.
I think you're good, but Jonathan, you are unbelievable.
In 2012, at the age of 17, Jonathan Antoine appeared on Britain's Got Talent alongside Charlotte Jaconelli, who was 16 at the time. The two were classmates at the Sylvia Young Theatre School and entered the competition hoping to pursue a professional career in classical music. Before the performance began, Simon Cowell appeared far from impressed by the young duo. Cameras captured him quietly, muttering, "Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse." That brief remark quickly became one of the most talked-about moments after the episode aired, because it stood in complete contrast to what happened next. When the opening notes of the prayer filled the theater, the atmosphere changed almost instantly. Jonathan Antoine's powerful tenor voice transformed the judges' expressions from surprise to complete admiration. The audience rose to its feet in applause before the performance even came to an end.
David, we better vote, yes or no?
Such an easy decision. Yes.
Thank you.
Amanda Holden described it as one of the most remarkable performances she had ever witnessed on Britain's Got Talent. David Walliams and Alicia Dixon also praised the young pair. Simon Cowell admitted he had been completely wrong in his first impression and said Jonathan possessed a voice that was exceptionally rare for someone his age. As soon as the episode aired, British media began comparing Jonathan Antoine to Susan Boyle. Many newspapers described the audition as one of the biggest surprises since Susan Boyle first appeared on the show's stage. Jonathan's name quickly became known far beyond the television audience. The audition video also spread rapidly across the internet. Over time, the performance accumulated around 153 million views on YouTube, becoming one of Britain's Got Talent's most watched videos. It also introduced Jonathan Antoine to an international audience within a remarkably short period. Alongside the praise, Simon Cowell made a proposal that sparked widespread discussion. He believed Jonathan had everything needed to become a successful solo artist, and bluntly told him he would go much further if he separated from Charlotte Jaconelli. The comment immediately drew attention because it came right after the audition.
But I worry, Charlotte, whether you're going to hold him back.
We've come on here as a duo, and we're going to stay here as a duo.
Jonathan Antoine rejected that advice. Instead of choosing an individual career, he made it clear that he wanted to continue performing with Charlotte, the friend who had stood beside him long before they walked onto the Britain's Got Talent stage. After the competition, the pair officially adopted the name Jonathan and Charlotte for their musical career. During the semi-final, Jonathan and Charlotte performed Caruso. The performance received another strong response from both the judges and the audience, earning them a place in the final. Each round demonstrated the duo's growing popularity with viewers across Britain. In the grand final, Jonathan and Charlotte returned to the prayer, the song that had defined their unforgettable audition. Their performance received another standing ovation, though the final result saw Jonathan and Charlotte finish as runners-up behind Ashley and Pudsey. Even without winning the competition, Jonathan Antoine's commercial value rose rapidly. Just one day after the final negotiations with Psycho Music began, British media reported that the recording contract was worth approximately £1 million, opening the door to a professional recording career for the young duo. Their success on the television stage quickly became the gateway into the music industry. Along with the major recording contract and growing public attention, Jonathan Antoine and Charlotte Jaconelli also found themselves facing the first major decisions of their careers.
If I can keep plugging away at it and keep, trying to find those splendors in this tiny little corner that I've built for myself.
Life-saving confession. In 2012, after signing with Psycho Music, Jonathan Antoine and Charlotte Jaconelli released their debut album, Together. The pair continued performing in the classical crossover style that had made such a strong impression on Britain's Got Talent, while actively appearing on television programs and music events across the United Kingdom. Together quickly reached number 5 on the UK albums chart and sold more than 250,000 copies, becoming one of the most successful albums released by artists from Britain's Got Talent. The success of Together established Jonathan and Charlotte as one of Britain's most promising young classical duos. They spent much of their time promoting the album, appearing on television, performing live, and meeting fans. Their demanding schedule quickly expanded their reputation far beyond the competition itself. Before long, the duo began preparing their next album. Unlike their debut, which was largely driven by the momentum of the television show, the second project allowed more time for selecting songs and developing an image that reflected the long-term artistic direction both performers wanted to pursue. Jonathan Antoine and Charlotte Jaconelli then released the album Perhaps Love. The record continued exploring the classical crossover genre by blending classical and pop influences while highlighting the natural harmony between their voices. It received positive feedback from music fans and helped Jonathan and Charlotte maintain their popularity in the market. Alongside the album releases, Jonathan and Charlotte continued touring throughout the United Kingdom. They also appeared on television programs and major music events, gradually building a loyal fan base, rather than relying solely on the recognition they had gained from Britain's Got Talent. During this period, many people believed the duo would remain together for years to come. Their commercial success and strong chemistry on stage made Jonathan and Charlotte one of the best-known classical crossover partnerships for mainstream audiences.
There's a surprisingly small amount of material for a male and female classical quote-unquote duo.
Yep.
There's not a lot for us to creatively expand on.
As plans for a third album began to take shape, differences in artistic direction gradually emerged. Jonathan Antoine later explained that he and Charlotte could not reach an agreement on the song selection or the creative direction for the next project. During discussions with Sony Classical, the record label presented another option. Company executives believed both Jonathan Antoine and Charlotte Jaconelli had the potential to build successful individual careers, so they suggested that each of them pursue a solo path instead of continuing as a duo. The proposal was not accepted immediately. Jonathan and Charlotte spent about a month considering their options before reaching a final decision. After many conversations, they agreed that moving forward separately would better suit each of their musical ambitions. In February 2014, Jonathan and Charlotte officially announced that they were ending the duo. The news surprised many fans because there had been no public signs of conflict between them. Both emphasized that the decision was made by mutual agreement rather than personal disagreement. Many years later, Jonathan revealed a little-known truth about the period before entering the competition. He said he had often claimed that Britain's Got Talent saved his life, though he eventually realized that the person who truly helped him through his darkest days was Charlotte Jaconelli. The story of Jonathan and Charlotte did not end with controversy or accusations. Instead, they maintained a relationship built on mutual respect and continued supporting each other's individual careers. For Jonathan Antoine, it also marked the beginning of the greatest challenge of all, building a name for himself through his own voice and artistic identity. Solo journey. In 2014, Jonathan released his first solo album, Tenore. The record marked a major turning point in his career, placing the entire focus on his voice. It quickly attracted attention from classical music enthusiasts, as well as audiences who had followed him on Britain's Got Talent. Tenore reached #1 on the UK Classical Artist Album chart, making Jonathan Antoine the youngest tenor ever to achieve that position. Many music experts regarded the accomplishment as an important milestone, confirming that he could build a successful career on his own rather than being known only as one half of Jonathan and Charlotte. Following the success of his debut album, Jonathan expanded his performance schedule across the United Kingdom and many other countries. He appeared in theaters, concert halls, and classical crossover music events, steadily establishing himself as an independent performer, with a growing and loyal audience. 2 years later, Jonathan released the album Believe. The record continued blending classical music with well-known songs arranged in a symphonic style. It reflected the consistency of his musical direction while expanding the repertoire for his international concert tours. During the same period, Jonathan Antoine founded his own record label, Antoine Multimedia. Having his own label gave him greater control over production, song selection, and the development of long-term projects, instead of relying entirely on the direction of major record companies. Jonathan's performing career continued to expand over the following years. He appeared at many prestigious venues, including the Royal Albert Hall, along with major stages across Europe and North America. His concerts regularly combined classical music, musical theater, and familiar ballads for mainstream audiences. In 2020, Jonathan released the album Going the Distance. The project continued his classical crossover style while introducing more inspirational songs. The album helped maintain his presence in the music industry during a period when live performances were heavily affected by global events. Alongside his major projects, Jonathan also released the album Christmas Land, featuring a collection of Christmas-themed songs. It was not the biggest commercial success of his career, though it expanded his musical catalog and became a familiar choice for many listeners during the holiday season. 4 years later, Jonathan Antoine released by request the Diane Warren songbook Volrebert von Poit. One of the projects he invested the most passion in. Unlike his previous albums, the project was produced through crowdfunding with direct support from his fans throughout the production process. The album features songs written by Diane Warren and includes direct collaboration with the acclaimed songwriter herself. The project is regarded as an important milestone that further strengthened Jonathan's position as a solo artist. Alongside his performances, Jonathan maintained a close connection with his fan community, widely known as the Fantoinais. It was within that community that an extraordinary story emerged, bringing his name into conversations that extended far beyond music. According to accounts shared by fans and their families, there were 2 reported cases in which people regained consciousness from a coma after relatives played Jonathan Antoine's recordings beside their hospital beds. No scientific evidence has established a direct connection, though these stories attracted widespread public attention. Few people realized that while Jonathan Antoine's musical career continued moving forward, he was quietly facing the greatest challenges of his own life. Late diagnosis. At the end of 2011, Jonathan Antoine suffered a severe emotional breakdown, left school, and completely lost his sense of direction. His struggles had begun long before that point. Years later, he revealed that he had been bullied from around the age of 4 because of his appearance and weight. The constant teasing caused him to become increasingly withdrawn, lose confidence, and always feel different from those around him. According to Jonathan, the emotional pressure that built up throughout his childhood had a lasting impact on his mental health long before the public ever knew his name. In later interviews, Jonathan admitted that he had often struggled with thoughts of ending his life. He felt trapped, saw no clear future, and believed he would never accomplish anything. Those admissions gave audiences a deeper understanding of the challenges he faced before stepping onto the Britain's Got Talent stage. Britain's Got Talent changed the direction of his career, though success did not erase his personal struggles. After beginning his solo career, Jonathan continued dealing with intense pressure from both his professional and personal life. Not long afterward, he experienced another serious emotional collapse. At the time, Jonathan only knew that he had lost control of his emotions and mental state. Many years later, he learned that what he had experienced was actually an autistic meltdown rather than a typical emotional crisis. The breakdown was accompanied by severe depression and forced him to cancel a scheduled performance at the Royal Albert Hall. Jonathan stepped away from the spotlight to focus entirely on treatment and recovery. For many years, he could not explain why he reacted so differently to situations that others considered ordinary. Those signs had been present since childhood, though they had never been linked to an official diagnosis. After his 27th birthday, Jonathan was diagnosed with autism. He said the diagnosis did not overwhelm him. Instead, it finally explained many of the experiences that had shaped his life and answered questions he had carried for years. Jonathan described the diagnosis as an opportunity to understand himself in an entirely new way. Behaviors, emotions, and experiences that once seemed confusing suddenly made sense through the perspective of autism spectrum disorder. After learning more about his condition, Jonathan decided to speak publicly about it. During an interview with Sunrise, he shared his diagnosis in the hope that people facing similar challenges would realize they were not alone. On March 28, 2026, in an interview with Mirror, Jonathan spoke further about life after his diagnosis. He explained that understanding himself had improved his quality of life and changed the way he worked, performed, and communicated with others. Jonathan also partnered with the National Autistic Society to raise awareness of autism. He hopes that sharing his experiences will encourage more people to seek an earlier diagnosis and receive appropriate support. His physical health became another major priority. Jonathan once weighed around 20 stone before deciding to change his lifestyle. He joined Weight Watchers, improved his diet, and made walking about 10,000 steps a daily habit. These changes helped Jonathan Antoine regain balance in both his career and personal life. Away from the stage, he continues living quietly with his family while pursuing new projects and moving forward with a deeper understanding of himself. Private life. Today, Jonathan Antoine lives with his family in Hainault, East London. The people closest to him include his father, John, a former police officer, his mother, Tracy, and his sister, Charlotte. Jonathan has often described his family as his greatest source of support, especially during difficult periods in his life. Jonathan's relationship with Charlotte extends beyond family ties. She also serves as his manager, helping oversee many aspects of his career. Working with a trusted family member has allowed Jonathan to maintain a stable environment while reducing many of the pressures that often come with the entertainment industry. The family home also includes Jonathan's private recording studio built in the garden behind the house. It is where he spends much of his time recording, rehearsing, and developing new music. Having a personal studio gives him greater creative freedom throughout the production process. Jonathan has always kept his personal relationships private. One of the few romances he publicly acknowledged was with Canadian native Michelle Doucet. The two met while Jonathan was expanding his international career and appeared together at several public events. In interviews, Jonathan described Michelle as the light of my life. He also credited her with inspiring both the album Believe and his outlook on life during that period. After the relationship ended, Jonathan largely stopped discussing his personal life. There has been no confirmed information that he is married or publicly involved in another relationship, and he continues to keep that part of his life away from media attention. Outside music, Jonathan has a strong love for animals. He has adopted several rescue cats from Battersea Dogs and Cats Home, one of the United Kingdom's best-known animal welfare organizations. His pets occasionally appear on social media, though they remain a small part of his public image. Jonathan has also ventured into children's publishing. He released 2 books, Jonathan the Porcupine and Jonathan and the Magical Cape, both written to share positive messages with young readers through imaginative stories. Alongside these projects, Jonathan has continued recording new music. He released the album Speaking to You through his own record label, giving him complete creative control over both the artistic direction and the production process. The album includes new interpretations of familiar songs such as All of Me, Bang Bang, Lilac Wine, The Impossible Dream, and No Surprises. Fans praised the project for showcasing the distinctive voice that first brought Jonathan international attention. Following the album's release, Jonathan began preparing for a solo concert scheduled for September at St. James's Church, Piccadilly, London. The performance was designed as an intimate concert, focused on musical quality and a closer connection with the audience. Jonathan Antoine is remembered not only for a voice that amazed millions, but also for the determination that carried him through years of personal challenges. His story shows that public success often reveals only part of a person's journey. If you enjoy authentic behind-the-scenes stories about television stars and music legends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for more inspiring stories in future videos.